That'd be great.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because obviously, if she's crying and I can't see her and something's wrong, I want to be able to hear it. But if I'm looking at her, I don't want to be able to hear it.
If you're looking at her, you'd rather be deaf.
Yes.
Okay. And apparently, because I'm not religious or anything, apparently I made you Judas in the thumbnail.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea. I mean, the only character I knew for sure on there was the one I put my face on.
So there's no message there?
Well, apparently people in the chat and otherwise are trying to read into it more than there is, but hey, reading into things more than is actually there, that's got nothing to do with the Bible. Oh, by the way, it's Thursday. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dow?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Hope you're all having a good Thursday. I've had a good week so far. And are looking forward to the weekend, which is coming up tomorrow-ish. End of tomorrow-ish. Something-ish. Ish.
Somewhere around there.
Yes, ish. Satsu, how are you doing?
Not bad. I'm just really fucking tired. I had a long day.
And a long night last night. Yes, you hadn't noticed, I was absent last night. I was hanging out with Sister Scribe. We went and had tried to make up for what all fell through last Saturday. So we went out for dinner instead of breakfast. Had a good dinner, hung out. It was the first time she and I had sat down in a restaurant together, at least all by ourselves, in over a year, which was kind of nice. Had steak and mashed potatoes and broccoli and a bloomin' onion. Because like I told Satsu, we went to Outback, nothing but the best for my sister. And then I did some shopping and kind of just hung out and chatted up. We had some, things to talk about or just sort of commiserate on with everything that's happened in the family lately and otherwise. And got that taken care of and plans for the near future to go visit the folks. So, yep, all that fun stuff. So that was yesterday, and today was just work, and then trying to stay as cool as I possibly can because it's pretty warm here right now. But that's about as exciting as it gets, I suppose. Are you excited, Satsu?
Oh, yeah.
Are you excited for the news?
Exploding with excitement.
Do you have a change of pants handy?
Usually, but not today.
Well, it's going to be a long 2 hours sitting in your own filth.
Hey, don't call it filth. Those are my kids.
Okay, thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle. Well, with that as our opener, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games, hit that like button if you have not already, and please share our stuff, share it far, wide, sideways, and otherwise. YouTube does a very poor job of letting people know that we exist, we being content creators in general. So if there's a content creator you appreciate, whether it's us or someone else, be sure to let people know that you like them by tweeting out their stuff and sharing their stuff otherwise. And I will not go through the litany of antiquated references to other platforms.
Good.
Except for ICQ. Because why not? Anyway, Satsu.
Yeah.
Did you know that Donald Trump is going over 9,000?
Oh, no.
Yes, because our favorite friend at CNN, Chris Cillizza, and now my ostensibly friendly pen pal, because of the T-shirt, he wants us to know that Donald Trump is getting worse.
Oh, no.
How could he possibly get worse after 4 years of the worst person in the world running the country as a tyrant, white supremacist, genocidal maniac, concentration camp running, racist, xenophobe, porn star sleeping with, paying off corrupt Russian puppet?
I don't know, but apparently his power, I mean, basically, Trump is CNN's Goku. He gets more and more powerful every season.
Well, I haven't read this. I'm honestly curious, given, and I mean, I was being mildly facetious a moment ago, but all of those things were used to describe Donald Trump over the previous 4 years.
Yeah.
So I honestly cannot imagine what more you could pile on at this point that hasn't already been attributed to him, rightly or wrongly. The evidence is everywhere. CNN's Dana Bash reported Thursday morning that former President Donald Trump is, quote, more obsessed than ever with the 2020 election. More than the media is, Chris?
More than you guys? That's actually quite a feat.
And what does being obsessed with it have to do with anything? With one former Trump aide telling her that the former president is only listening to, quote, the bottom of the crazies in the barrel, unquote. Okay. Whatever else you might say, Chris, he has been doing that in any estimation for the last year. I mean, even before the election last year, both sides were telling us how the other side was going to steal the election. So if there are crazies of the crazies at the bottom of the barrel about conspiracy theories about election fraud and so on and so forth, that's nothing new. But let's say you're absolutely right. And you know what? I won't disbelieve you. It means what? That follows on the reporting from the New York Times and Washington Post, which of course CNN is just the mouthpiece for, that Trump is convinced that he will, at some point this summer, be reinstated as president once a variety of kooky and non-credible audits come to fruition. Well, again, if that's true, then yes, he is listening to the crazies of the crazies.
Right, but I guess my question is, does him? Okay, because we don't really know. We're not the canon writers of this comic book called Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So, like, does he now possess a power where if he believes it hard enough, we have to fear it because it might happen if he believes it enough? Yeah, I mean, like, again, something that cannot happen. Something that, I mean, what damage does it do anyone if I, for example, believe in my heart of hearts that every July 4th there is a 50% chance that unicorns will appear on the earth and decimate everybody? Okay, what harm does it do anyone if I fervently believe that with all my heart? There's nothing to act on. I mean, there's no like ritual to perform to make it happen. I just believe it with all of my heart that that's going to happen. What happens every July 4th when that doesn't occur? Nothing, right? No harm is done to anybody else. And maybe if I was hoping for it to happen rather than fearing it, I would be disappointed. So, okay, I'll extend you the benefit of the doubt, Chris. I'll take you at your word. Donald Trump fervently believes that by August he will be president again, even though that is functionally, legally, mechanically impossible, and we all know it. My question to you, Chris, is, so what? Quote, Trump has become so fixated on the audits that he suggested recently to allies that their success could result in his return to the White House this year, according to people familiar with comments he has made, unquote, wrote the Post. Like you?
Let me ask you something. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, I'm assuming that the sources you have for these comments are not members of the White House staff at this point. Why don't you cite them? What is stopping you from citing people? Because at the time that Trump was president, okay, and you were citing sources familiar with the matter and that kind of thing, I could almost extend to you the credit that if there are people leaking information from the White House, their jobs would be in jeopardy if you put their names out there. Now, whether or not that actually passed journalistic muster, I could kind of understand it if somebody said, don't quote me, or just on background or something like that. In this instance, I unless you're getting your information from the White House in this case, which would be kind of funny, why don't you just quote the person or persons?
Also considering the fact that people who are familiar with what he said could literally be all the fucking crazy psychopaths you're talking about that listen to him.
That's also true.
They could be the source.
Trump himself has been sending out a slew of statements on the topic, you don't say, blasting Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich. Is there really no vowel in the beginning of that guy's name? Brnovich. I do not know the guy's name, so maybe it is. Both Republicans for not doing more to support the ridiculous recount in Maricopa County. I mean, it's either ridiculous because it's a waste of money and it's somebody else's money being spent, but if it's legal, we already talked about this. And on Monday, Trump blasted this out, quote, "Great work is being done in Georgia, revealing the election fraud of the 2020 presidential election. But we must not allow anyone to compromise these ballots by leaving the building unsecured, which was done late Friday. Republicans and patriots must protect this site and the absentee ballots," unquote. For more on the situation with Georgia's absentee ballots, read this. Chris, would you be willing to entertain that all of this rhetoric, and I'm just throwing this out there, all of this rhetoric from Trump isn't actually a declaration of belief so much as it is a rallying cry for fundraising? Would I be completely off base in thinking just for a second that Trump doesn't actually believe this stuff, but it's getting a lot of attention, if you can believe it, Chris Saliza writing an article about it, and therefore drums up fundraising for the midterms?
One thing I can tell you, if this was a Democrat, we'd be getting that rhetoric right now. He'd be talking about how, well, I mean, although it is typical for them to say things to rally their base, or like, just to kind of cover up the fact that it's being said. They're like, oh, but this is kind of normal. It's normal for people to say things that isn't necessarily true. But no, I mean, it's like, it's Donald Trump being Donald Trump. He has been Donald Trump for as long as he's been Donald Trump. And yet we're still being presented with Donald Trump headline. Like, yeah.
Can you believe that Donald Trump believes in crazy conspiracy theories? Did you know that Obama's not actually an American? Yeah, okay. The so obvious it's hitting you in the face conclusion, Trump isn't giving up his delusions about the 2020 election. They're getting worse. Chris, are you actually concerned about Donald Trump's mental health? I mean, if that's the angle you were coming at it from, I don't know that I could fault you. If you truly believe that he truly believes that he's living in a reality where he's going to be president again in August, the madness of King George kind of thing. But so why are we talking about it? Why are you bothering with this? And it's not. Oh, sorry.
Maybe he's concerned that, like I said, if Donald Trump believes it hard enough, then Biden will just fucking vanish, and or we'll watch Biden giving a speech and he'll just morph into Donald Trump.
And it's not just Trump. Those who take their cues from him. Oh, are you going to bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene? Are you going to bring up your Trump proxy who has no power and no allies and no real leverage in anything, but which you guys have propped up over and over again like she's something special, which is rightly understood as the majority of the Republican base. The majority of the Republican base are taking their cues from Donald Trump right now.
That's what he said.
I'm asking that question sincerely because that would surprise the hell out of me. Okay, what cues are they taking? I guess is my next question. Are descending deeper into the madness of wild conspiracy theories too? Oh, like Russia? Oh, wait. Witness Michael Flynn. Is Michael Flynn an elected representative? Oh, wait, no, he's not. Okay. Trump's one-time national security advisor, who is now, as far as I know, just a civilian, who over the weekend appeared to endorse a Myanmar-like coup in the United States. Flynn later said on Parler that there is no reason whatsoever for any coup in America, and I do not have not at any time called for any action of that sort. Okay, well, Chris, did he or did he not? And even if he did, so what? What power does Michael Flynn have? Like, again, I just honestly have to ask. If it weren't for CNN and Chris Cillizza, I would honestly have no idea who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. If it wasn't for CNN and Chris Cillizza, I would have forgotten Michael Flynn even existed as part of the government at this point. And the only reason I ever know is because they bring him up. And every time they bring him up, I keep asking, so what? What pull does Michael Flynn have on starting a coup in America? Even if that's what he said, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. He actually said there should be a coup in America. And where is it? I don't see it. Where is it, Satsu?
In Chris Cillizza's head?
Or Republican-controlled legislatures around the country moving to pass so-called election security laws in response to the non-existent threat posed by widespread election fraud. You mean the non-existent threat that the Democrats told me that Trump was going to take advantage of during the entirety of last year?
Yeah, the non-existent threat that Russia manipulated to get Trump into office.
Yeah, that we went through 3.5 some odd years of investigations and so on, that our election system was so vulnerable, that our democracy was in peril, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Make up your mind, okay? If you're going to say some conspiracy theories are okay now, but not then, could you be honest about it? Of course you couldn't, because everything has to be on the other side of it. You guys cannot at all, at any point, just do away with your obvious, transparent partisanship when it comes to the news, not only your news, but what the Democrats are doing versus the Republicans, or what they did just a year ago, which isn't outside of memory. Just do a Google search. But you can't even remember when Louis Gohmert says, oh, well, BLM had this on their website. And you're like, duh, no. And they did with a 3-second Google search. Anyway, you get the idea. This crap is not slowing down or going away. It's picking up steam. Is it? It's crap, is it? Oh, I wait a second. Didn't you tweet out a while back, reporters are never supposed to take sides?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so everything the Republicans are doing is crap. Okay. All right, I'll have to screenshot this and remind you of your previous stance on things, all of which undermines the strategy employed by Republican leaders in Washington to date, which is best described by Homer Simpson regarding a big test he needs to take. Quote, during the exam, I'll hide under some coats and hope that somehow everything will work out, unquote. Okay. The desperate hope of the likes of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell was that in the wake of the 2020 election, Trump would simply fade away. Well, God, if only, Chris, God, could you help out in that effort by not pontificating on what he thinks will happen when it's functionally impossible? That yes, he would remain a figure of some stature for some within the Republican Party. He's a figure of stature within your party, Chris. The party of the media.
He is literally the most popular, most talked about, most written about person in to the Democrats and liberal media. Are you serious?
I mean, I would be surprised at this point, and I think this was a cliche back in the 80s at least, that there was no singular person who had more ink and or photographs taken of them or relayed to the world than Princess Diana. I think Trump has probably exceeded her 3 times over at this stage of the game. And you know whose fault that is, Chris? Yours. You and your colleagues keep bringing him up when he may be the biggest fundraising nexus for the Republicans in the midterms and perhaps years to go. That's possibly true. But the only reason he gets any press is because you put it out there.
Yeah, and you make sure you do. You go out of your way to make sure you can talk about him every chance you get. You don't miss a fucking beat. Even when you're doing something to actively supposedly ignore Trump, you're going out of your way to still mention and talk about how you're doing that thing. And how it's supposed to somehow affect Trump. You love him.
If Donald Trump at this stage of the game did anything of significance, actually something worth talking about, I would be fine reading stories about it. But between 2 scoops of ice cream and a ridiculous and complete. This is the one instance where, Donald Trump thinks this, and you're absolutely right. It is ridiculous. It is impossible. It's not going to happen. And yet you really want to talk about it. You really do. I can't even imagine why, but I can. I know why, because it gets you the most clicks, and it's a never-ending source of income and attention. And of course, I guess I'm feeding into that too, but I suppose I'm just sort of expressing my bewilderment to the hypocrisy of it all. But we're going to move on because there's nothing new to learn here. And it's something different, which I kind of commented on Twitter earlier today. See if this sparks any memories in you, Satsu. Biden's willingness to break conventional presidential wisdom on full display as he heads to the beach. Does that notion sound familiar at all to you?
You mean breaking precedent and how absolutely fucking terrible that is?
Political wisdom might ordinarily dictate that a president in need of certain senators' votes not publicly scold those lawmakers in public. It might also prevent a leader, once labeled sleepy by his rival, from escaping to the beach in the middle of the work week for his wife's milestone birthday. Yet President Joe Biden did both of those things this week, apparently unbothered with conventional politics or rote partisan backlash. Approaching the 5-month mark of his presidency, Biden instead appears confident enough in his standing to discard certain unwritten rules of the job, even as he settles into a more traditional presidency than the norm-bending tenure of his predecessor.
I can't even.
I
can't even with it.
I
can't.
No, just for the record, I didn't have any particular problem with Trump, quote unquote, breaking precedent of what presidents do or do not do, short of him breaking the law. Okay. But just tradition or this, that, or the other. Like Joe not doing a State of the Union-esque speech within the month of January or early February. Okay. Now, most presidents going back have done a speech to the combined Senate, or the Congress, within the first couple of weeks or month of their being inaugurated. Joe didn't do that. And while it was odd, I didn't really care, because short of him being required by law to do so or something, whatever, it's a tradition, not a rule. So I don't really care if Joe Biden is doing something, quote unquote, unpresidential. I might, depending on what it is, I might criticize him for not respecting the office. And I did so for Trump plenty of times, where I was like, I don't particularly appreciate acting that way when you're the president. But that aside, I don't care if Joe's not following procedure. However, again, it's not so much about what the subjects of the articles are doing as much as it is the people writing the articles are contradicting themselves on. Because like Satsu said, and if you've been watching the show for a while, every time that Donald Trump ever swerved even a little bit outside the lines of usual presidential conduct or tradition, it was the end of the world. It was the worst thing since I don't know.
Since the last time he did it.
Because the last time he did it, sure. It's the worst thing since cancer. I don't know. Either way, we never heard the end of just how terrible it was and just how unbecoming it was and blah, 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 blah. And in some instances, depending on what we're talking about, maybe there was an argument to be made. But it didn't matter what it was. If it was a deviation from center, oh my God! But now Joe does it. And that Joe... Oh, good old Joe.
Silly Joe. What are you
doing? Not
doing?
even as he spends days and weeks deliberating over the major decisions of his presidency, grappling over the political costs alongside everything else, Biden has shown ample willingness to take steps other presidents might avoid. In multiple ways, this has been on vivid display this week. Listen to that choice of vocabulary. You could switch out several of those words with equitable words going the opposite direction in mood, and you would have a Trump article on this same subject.
Yep.
But in this case, it's all very vivid and willingness and take steps. President jabs at crucial Democrats, addressing critics Tuesday who wonder why he hasn't cajoled Congress into passing a sweeping voting rights law. Biden appeared to chide Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Kristen Sinema of Arizona, both Democrats who have defended the filibuster rules that allowed the voting bill to stall. At the same time, Biden is courting both senators on his infrastructure plan, meeting with them individually at the White House as talks got underway. In many ways, their votes are the linchpin for much of Biden's agenda, a dynamic that gives them outsized influence, sometimes to the chagrin of the president and his team. It all sounds very light and just sort of like, but every time that Trump ever criticized someone within his own party, it was like, oh, disruption in the party. This is a rift that's going to be plaguing him for years.
Oh, boy.
Quote, I hear all the folks on TV saying, why doesn't Biden get this done? Well, because Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate, with 2 members of the Senate who vote more with my Republican friends, he said. An unspoken but unmistakable nod to the chamber's 2 most moderate Democrats. So he was talking about himself in the third person? Okay. Quote, I was surprised by it, said David Axelrod, a former senior advisor to President Barack Obama, and I wondered whether it was worded precisely the way he wanted it. What?
They always give him that, dude. Every time he says something, every single time he says something where people are like, that's probably not something you should say. They're like, maybe he didn't mean it that way.
Okay, well, if you were quoting Joe Biden there, which was kind of vague, I have to ask, why is he making excuses instead of reaching across the aisle? I thought he was the great unifier. I thought he was calling for unity. Setting aside, again, the reporting sort of hypocrisy about someone going outside presidential boundaries and so on and so forth, let's go back to the actual issue of agenda. Biden's rhetoric was to unite, to unify, to come together. Okay. If that is a quote of his, and again, I'm a little bit challenged to say for certain that is a quote from Joe Biden because it's implied, but not anyway, then he's making excuses for himself. Well, because Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate. Joe, you don't talk about the mechanics. You talk about how you're going to work to reach across the aisle to get this done.
I mean,
he's right. Don't get me wrong. He's not saying something that's wrong. But if you're making excuses, then we're pretty sure you're not going to get done anything that you said you'd get done.
Well, imagine, once again, Donald Trump being like, yeah, well, I would be working to do this stuff, but look at the position I'm in, so I'm just not going to try. How would that be received by the fucking media?
Aside from the politics, Biden's statement wasn't true. Manchin and Sinema have not voted with Republicans on any major legislation so far in this Congress.
So he lied on top of it.
Well, CNN, do you have anything to say about him saying something demonstrably untrue? Quote, they certainly vote more with Republicans than many Democrats vote with Republicans, but he does need them, Axelrod said. Quote, this is something that's lost to discussion often, which is people say, well, why do they negotiate with Republicans? Why don't they just go it alone? Well, you can't go it alone unless you have 50 votes, and Manchin and Sinema are not on board on many of these key things that Biden cares about. So wait. Biden needs Manchin and Sinema on his side, conceivably, to get anything done. He besmirches them, and then you have David Axelrod wondering if it was worded precisely the way he wanted it. Well, was it a quote or wasn't it?
Well, whether it's a quote or not, we still have to run interference and make up for any bad ground. They don't even give Biden a chance to look bad. They already formed the narrative for you.
On Wednesday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Biden wasn't casting blame on his 2 fellow Democrats for stalling voting rights. Yes, he was. You want me to read that quote again? Here, I'll read it one more time. I hear all the folks on TV saying, why doesn't Biden get this done? Well, because Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate, with 2 members of the Senate who vote more with my Republican friends, unquote. So he was telling everybody that Manchin and Sinema were part of the holdup for getting it done, i.e. the voting rights stuff. But Jen Psaki says that he wasn't casting blame on his two fellow Democrats. Instead, she said he was conveying nothing more than, quote, a little bit of commentary on TV punditry. What? Wait, what? Quote, he considers them both friends. He considers them both good working partners. Okay, so he was referring to them specifically. Okay. Quote, we don't have to see eye to eye on every detail of every single issue in order to work together, and he certainly thinks that reflects their relationship, unquote. What? He just threw two members of his own party under the bus for why he can't get his own agenda going, unfairly, mind you. But now he was just commentating on TV punditry and that he does work good with them. Well, he doesn't seem to think so. So basically, don't listen to anything the president says. He doesn't actually mean it.
Dude,
that is the message I'm getting over and over and over again with all these bailouts every time he says something aloud, and then they have to run to make cover for him in the most ridiculously futile way.
I was just about to say the same thing, dude. That has been the general message behind this presidency. Don't take anything Biden says seriously unless we tell you to. Unless we say he meant it, then just ignore it.
And then after that, okay, so White House officials say Biden is highly attuned to the politics of individual senators, and some believe he may have intentionally been creating space between himself and two lawmakers hailing from conservative states, believing it advantageous for them. Neither Manchin nor Sinema responded publicly. Oh, so he was doing them a favor by bad-mouthing them about helping him get his agenda done. Okay, so he wasn't making excuses, and he wasn't looking for a fall guy and gal. No. He was doing them a favor by distancing himself from them so they would have an advantage in their own states, while at the same time he wants to work closely with them and has a good relationship with them. Okay, CNN, are you going to comment at all on that crazy contradiction of messaging? No, we're going right to the beach break. He's going to the beach. We're not going to talk about the absolute schizophrenia taking place between what the President of the United States says publicly and out loud, and then how it's being laundered by his staff and his agents in the media, and then just ignored by the media. Okay, we're just going to move on to him going to the beach and having a birthday with his wife. Okay. I mean, honestly, there was part of me, and I've said this before, there was part of me that kind of appreciated the fact, although it was ridiculous in so many ways, appreciated the fact that the media was not giving Trump a pass, right? Because our leaders should not just be automatically given a pass because they have a position or a title. I don't believe that at all. Except they took it to the nth degree and made national security issues about nothing. In this case, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
The absolute opposite. They need to be more focused on picking through the weeds of this stuff. Because the scenario that I'm seeing happening at some point is what we saw with Andrew Cuomo over the course of last year. All of the knob polishing, all of the glad handing, all of the free passes given over and over and over again, all of the smiles and the, wow, what a great job, Andy, is just covering up the likelihood that there's something rotten in the state of Denmark. There's a lot of bad stuff going on that's just not being paid attention to. And it's not going to be paid attention to until it erupts like a poisonous volcano into everybody's lives a year from now, 6 months from now, whatever. And then the media will be going like, oh, nobody could have seen this coming.
Or it was probably Trump's fault.
Probably, yeah. This is the remnants of the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Moving on. Other things. Ex-CDC director says he received threats from other scientists after backing lab leak theory. I can believe it.
Why does that not surprise me?
I can believe it. Former CDC director Robert Redfield told Vanity Fair that he received death threats from other scientists. Like, were they building a death ray? After telling CNN in March that he believes the coronavirus accidentally escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Why it matters, the allegation was featured in a sweeping investigation by Vanity Fair into the battles over the origins of COVID-19 that have raged inside the U.S. government and scientific community. What do you mean? There's been no battle over it. We knew the truth from day one. Everybody told me that this is the truth and anything else is a crazy conspiracy theory, and Facebook will take it off the air because that can't possibly be true, and don't believe anything the CDC doesn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The big picture. President Biden last month ordered the U.S. intelligence community to redouble its efforts to investigate the origins of the coronavirus and produce a report within 90 days that, quote, could bring us closer to a definitive conclusion, unquote. The request came after the Wall Street Journal reported on previously undisclosed U.S. intelligence that suggested 3 researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology fell ill enough to be hospitalized in November 2019. Was that information actually undisclosed previously? Because I seem to recall hearing something like that a long time ago. And maybe it was just a rumor, but I have a feeling that now that's been corroborated, it was more than a rumor at that time, and nobody decided to ask any questions. Maybe. The WIV's lead coronavirus researcher, Shi Zhengli, had previously performed gain-of-function experiments to make viruses more infectious, a controversial field of study intended to help scientists combat potential future pandemics. The lab received some U.S. government funding through the National Institute of Health and a nonprofit called the Eco Health Alliance, but officials, including Anthony Fauci, have strenuously denied that the U.S. funded gain-of-function research. Well, here's the thing, and I forget who it was that brought this up in a hearing. Satsu, if I give you money and say, Satsu, this money is for buying oatmeal. And you take that money and you put it in your bank account, right? And then you decide to buy tires for a car.
How much money did you give me for oatmeal? Holy fuck.
Well, this isn't combined with the other money you have in your account. I know, because you see, money is fungible. So if I give you money for something specifically, but then you end up spending it on something else, even though I, told you don't spend it on anything else. Did I fund oatmeal or did I fund buying your tires?
Whether you like it or not, you funded buying my tire.
Oh my God. Anyway. On December 9th, an official warned colleagues not to ask questions about the Wuhan Institute of Virology's controversial coronavirus research, as it would call attention to U.S. government support for that research, according to another document. The warnings, quote, smelled like a cover-up. Thomas Donano, a Trump appointee, told Vanity Fair, and I wasn't going to be a part of it. It smelled like a cover-up? Sure sounds like it actually was.
Somebody's got a good nose.
But it was all a conspiracy theory, guys. It was all nonsense, all crazy tinfoil hat stuff. Don't believe it. It's crazy right-wing wingnut conspiracy theories, not true. But never mind that the media is just going to sort of walk back that we were saying anybody who said otherwise, unfounded claims, ridiculous conspiracy theories.
Yes.
We're not going to actually do any investigation, not any journalism to say, well, is it possible that there's any truth to these allegations? No. We're told that they're not so. And Trump says that they are. So obviously we can't say that there's any truth to them.
Well, considering we were literally just looking at, like media people saying like, I can't believe it. Like I had an epiphany and it just dawned on me that sometimes Trump said things that were true. And they were like genuinely like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. And I'm like, what? Yeah, this is what happens.
Yeah, if you dismiss something out of hand because you do not like the person delivering the message, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You have done yourself and the public a disservice, especially if you're supposedly a journalist. Okay. Now, That doesn't mean that everything that comes out of Trump's mouth you need to pay attention to down to the wire, even though that's what you did for 4 years, and somehow you didn't bother looking into the things he was saying that ended up being true eventually. So, but I mean, you'll tell us about his ice cream habits. You'll go into chapter and verse on how the phrase separate but equal, being used in a completely different context, actually calls to mind the discrimination and segregation of the South in the 60s and all that kind of stuff. No, but you won't actually do any work to say, well, Trump said something, let's fact check it for realsies. No, don't bother. Also, Trump told everybody to put bleach in their veins and so on and so forth and so on. And, Anyway, we're going to move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. Everyone, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise to get to them all, but that's because I'm long-winded. Let's see. Frosted glass, if you can believe it. Frosted, are you like giving up on Medium? Because this is like, I think, the second article I've had from you from Salon.
The last time he said there was a moment where you were saying that you couldn't read Medium, and that's why he stopped sending them.
Oh.
Yeah.
We Are Lady Parts, a fierce new comedy about a Muslim punk band, rocks our world. Well, are they performing in a Muslim-ruled country? Because if not, so what? And We Are Lady... In this addictive new series, a punk group shreds on songs like Voldemort's alive and he's under my headscarf. What?
Oh, boy.
Call it luck or call it kismet, but Peacock... Oh, Peacock. That's why I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Peacock's debuting, quote, We Are Lady Parts, unquote, in close proximity to kiddie punk band The Linda Lindas, achieving viral exposure with their hit Racist Sexist Boy, is a beautiful thing. I feel like I'm reading Greek. I'm obviously not hip to what's cool with the kids these days, because nothing mentioned in that sentence even rings the faintest of bells in my mind. How about you, Satsu?
Nope. I mean, I know what Peacock is.
I have an idea of what Peacock is. I've never heard of the Linda Lindas, which, there's so many bands out there that doesn't surprise me. But their hit, Racist Sexist Boy, if you say so.
I've actually heard of that before.
Have you? Okay, I honestly haven't.
I've never heard the song, but I've heard that title before.
Okay. So. In the Linda Lindas, we have an LA-based group enjoying the kind of mass appeal punk usually doesn't, save for a group like Green Day. Okay, well, Green Day might have started out punkish, but they were punk light pretty quick. I would bet you, and I can't put myself in this category, but only sort of peripherally, I would bet you that any actual aficionado regarding punk probably does not have Green Day high on their list. So if you think that Green Day qualifies as punk, save for maybe their first album or two, you might not have a good idea what punk is. But then I haven't heard this song, so I don't know what the Linda Lindas are or do not do.
Well, Monkey said Linda Lindas is a kids band that just went viral after a library concert they did. And Ebony says they're a band of preteen Asian girls.
Okay, well, let me just, for sake of posterity, there's Monkey. Hi, Monkey, by the way.
Hello, Monk.
You want to come on, Monkey? Let me know. And what?
Commas. What? They're important.
I just want to underscore that's where your mind went.
Commas are important. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say nothing.
And
I'm just saying.
Implied. You decided to remove them. That's up to you.
You did. There was no pause there.
Ebony Williams, the Linda Lindas are a band of preteen Asian girls. Okay. When I think of baby metal. All right. If I think of like a famous girl band or Asian girl band, but okay, the Linda Lindas. Like so many other purveyors of fast and loud tunes, That band consists of a bunch of white dudes, while the Linda Lindas are Asian and Latinx girls between the ages of 10 and 16 who write their own songs, who signal. So wait, Green Day is not legitimate because they're all white guys?
Yeah, it's like what? Those guys are just a bunch of fucking white dudes, but this is a group of Asian and preteens, and they write their own songs and all. Like really? Why are you shitting on them just because they're white?
Pecoraro, thank you so much. Green Day was alternative until this new 2000s punk. Yeah, even back then, like I said, their first album or so sounded punk-ish, but then it started to really. So it was pseudo-punk. But I don't know if they fell into an alternative thing. I didn't really think of them in the same vein as Alice in Chains or Nirvana or Screaming Trees or anything. So, okay. Well, the Linda Lindas, yeah. Okay. Whose singles Slap Hard and As We Saw in the Film Moxie, never heard of it, can rip the hell out of a Bikini Kill cover. If you say so. Someday the quartet may also inspire a Broadway musical. Who knows? For the time being, they're winning the all-important battle of... Is this an article about the Linda Lindas, or is this an article about what you put the headline as? There's absolutely nothing quite like Lady Parts either, a fictional 5-woman punk band whose members are Muslim and whose manifesto, written by lead singer and guitarist Sarah Camila Impe, is "We're sisters who pray together, play together, speaking our truth to whoever can be asked to listen," unquote. So you're proselytizing? Roaring alongside her, the band's drummer. So this is like The Heights or the Monkees. Do you guys remember the movie, the TV show, The Heights? That was another sort of fake band in a TV show from like the 90s where they tried to do that. They tried to put together an actual band. And I think, was their song, How Do I Talk to an Angel? I think that's what their song was. They actually had a song written for them by somebody, and then they sang it. How do I talk to an angel? I think that was their... If that's not their song and my memory has just gone completely on the fritz. Of course, the other question is, why the hell do I remember The Heights? I was trying to think of like fictional bands on TV, and the only two that came to mind were the Monkees and The Heights. These are highly charismatic weavers of distortion and raw power, singing out their frustrations and glorying in their outsider status, you mean width? You didn't even edit this, did you? Okay, which such tongue-in-cheek ditties as Voldemort's alive and he's under my headscarf?
Outsider status?
So a female band. Okay, is it really outsiders at this point?
I am.
Well,
I am puzzled.
I have had it confirmed. Angela Arriaga says, "I like The Heights, Scribe Light, and yes, it was. How do I talk to an angel?" Okay, that I have not. Just as a note, I have not up to this moment thought about or had any reason to recall the existence of The Heights, nor that song until just now, when I had to think of what are some other fictional TV bands. And for whatever reason, my memory still stored that information. If only I could use these powers for profit. But instead, I just have ridiculously pointless trivia stuck in my head. Anyway, okay. First, I don't think I've ever watched Peacock. However good a band the Linda Lindas may or may not be, I hadn't heard of them to this point. Never heard of the show. Don't care. Moving on. Who's next? Okay, this one comes from Check Your Logic. The first and so far only Scribe Light cosplayer that I know of. Texas high school valedictorian switches speech to speak out on state's abortion law. Okay. I guess. Oh. Wow. Okay. Let me find that real quick. I got to find the comment so I can put it back in here. Angela Ariaga, you forgot the Oneaters from That Thing You Do. Yes, The Wonders. Oh, that movie. You ever see The Wonder or the That Thing You Do, Satsu, that movie?
Probably not.
It's a Tom Hanks movie. It's a goofy band movie. The lead singer, whatever, tries to name the band The Wonders, but he spells it with the word one. And so everybody goes like, the Oneaters.
Oneaters?
Yeah, the Oneaters.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so and then Tom Hanks comes in and says, okay, first thing, yeah, that name's got to change. It's just The Wonders. Yeah, but it's so conventional. Shut up. A high school valedictorian exhaled as she pulled a piece of paper from underneath her graduation gown. Where was she hiding it? Gathering her courage, Paxton Smith started the speech she had worked so hard on. She pulled out something from under her gown that was hard. Okay, sorry. For her graduation on Sunday. But the speech the 18-year-old gave ended up being an entirely different speech than she had planned and that her school had already approved.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit.
How so?
Well, they said her school approved it. She pulled it up under her gown, and then she walked up and read a completely different speech than she had planned. No, she walked up there and read the exact speech that she planned on reading. What do you mean? She read something totally different than she planned. No, she didn't.
Yes, that is true.
What do you mean?
Yeah. The speech that she submitted was a complete Trojan horse the whole time. So that part's untrue. But the part that the school didn't know what she was going to do, yeah. She said she initially was going to talk about TV media and content. No, she wasn't. Instead, the Dallas teenager decided to use her platform to take a stand against a controversial Texas abortion law that had recently passed. Quote, I cannot give up this platform to promote complacency and peace when there is a war on my body and a war on my rights, Smith said during her Lake Highlands High School graduation speech, which came 2 weeks after Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the so-called, quote, heartbeat ban abortion bill into law. The law prohibits most abortions when a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can occur as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy and before many people know they are pregnant. The bill requires abortion providers to check for a fetal heartbeat before performing an abortion and prevents them from doing the procedure if one is detected. It makes exceptions, quote, if a physician believes a medical emergency exists, but not for instances of rape or incest, citing that, quote, public and private agencies provide emergency contraceptions for victims of rape or incest, unquote. But if they're a victim of rape or incest and don't know that they're pregnant within 6 weeks, they still have to give birth to a baby as a result of rape or incest?
Yeah, that sounds a little...
The state will force them to carry the child to term. Okay. The issue weighed on the senior so much that a week and a half before graduation, she said she realized she had to change. A week and a half. Okay. Yeah, she didn't plan on giving the first speech. Well, a week and a half ahead of time? No. The school district told CNN a different speech was given than had been submitted to the school in advance. The district includes the following statement as graduate. Is she going to be punished or something? Otherwise, I don't care. So she read something that she didn't submit to the school. Okay, unless the school is going to somehow censure her for it. First Amendment, the end. If she has any consequences as a result of that or something, I don't know what else they do.
I highly doubt that there's any school in existence that would be brave enough to... unless she was going to like a Catholic school or something like that, there's no way they would take any action. They know that school will be up in flames literally the next day.
Oh, Smith is not ruling out a future role in the social justice world. For now, however, all she knows is that she wants to help people. Okay. Let's see. No reprimand came. All right, so she suffered no consequences as a result of that, because I'm sure that if she had, there'd be uproar and so on. And depending on what they did, unless there was a previously established rule. If they just made something up on the spot because she defied the submitted speech, I'd have a problem with that. If there was a rule she knew she was risking as a result of that and she suffered the consequences, that's completely different. Whatever. Free speech. The end. Let's see. Who's next? We already did one from Frosted Glass. Let's see. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. Yeah. Let's see. Looks like she's 19. Uproar after Biden's remark about girl at Virginia military base. Are you playing a game, Satsu?
Yes.
I can hear the clicking of your mouse.
That's weird because I'm using the controller.
Okay, controller. At ease, Joe. President Joe Biden raised eyebrows. That's not all he... Oh, wait. And a few alarms Friday when he lavishly complimented a little girl on her appearance during remarks at a Virginia military base. I hadn't heard about this. This is a story from the 28th. Quote, "I love those barrettes in your hair, man," Biden said. Quote, "I tell you what, look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there like a little lady with her legs crossed," unquote. The girl in question, who appeared to be elementary school age, had joined her parents and two older brothers on the podium while her mother introduced the president at Joint Base Langley Eustis in Hampton, Virginia. Biden's bizarre aside... Is it bizarre at this point? Is this out of character for Joe Biden to act strangely towards young girls?
It is when you pretend like he's never done it before.
Biden's bizarre aside was noted and tweeted by the post-millennial, causing a commotion on Twitter. It should cause a commotion beyond Twitter, I think. Quote, "That's pretty fucked up," tweeted longtime Republican consultant Nathan Wurtzel, who joked in a subsequent tweet, quote, "I guess this explains the Lincoln Project support." Oh!
Oof.
Ouch. Other reactions were even more succinct. What? Tweeted Real Clear Politics co-founder Tom Bevan, while Ricochet editor-in-chief John Gabriel chimed in, "Dude has issues." Creep, reacted Fox News contributor Johnny Joey Jones, while townhall.com senior editor Matt Vespa tweeted, "To catch a predator." Quote, "This is going to be his last straw," conservative podcast host and Spectator USA contributor Stephen Miller captioned an image of Kathy Bates taking a sledgehammer to James Caan's legs in the movie Misery. Quote, "We're not going to see him for the next 2 weeks," unquote.
Is it interesting that everybody who they pointed out that criticized Biden were all Republican or from some Republican network?
Well, I'd be hard-pressed to think that anybody on the Democrat side or left-wing media would have said anything.
I feel like they did, though, and they're just not saying it.
Biden has a long history of awkward encounters with girls and young women.
Awkward. Yeah, that's right. They're all awkward. That's what it is.
In February, he told an Arizona nurse during a video conference that she looked, quote, "like a freshman," unquote, in college. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Oh, boy.
There you go. Let's see. That is an ad. Yeah. Tonight's episode of Lords of the Night is not brought to you by Bogota, Colombia.
Bogota?
If you can believe it. Let's see. This one comes from Jedi Ghost Bear. We're going to do a couple of stories because I have something to talk about YouTube time, but I don't have much fucketry, so I don't know about you, Satsu.
Not really.
All right. Wait, that's not... No, I wanted this. I wanted this. I didn't want that. Give me the link that I copied, computer. Let's try that again. Yes, there we go. Stolen Seattle police rifle found buried in Marysville yard. I don't know the geography enough to say otherwise what that's significant of. The semi-automatic was looted from a Seattle police vehicle on May 30th, 2020, according to police. Was this at all connected to the CHOP by any chance? I wonder. A rifle stolen from the Seattle Police Department just over a year ago was recovered Wednesday, buried in the backyard of a Marysville home, police said. Detectives believe the Colt M4 rifle was one of several looted during a riot in downtown Seattle on May 30th, 2020. Marysville officer Danielle Roosh got a tip about the weapon's location while investigating an unrelated incident, according to a news release sent out Thursday by the Marysville Police Department. Marysville police worked with a Seattle detective and investigators with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives to recover the weapon. Okay. Everett Man, Jacob Little, okay, 25, has been charged in U.S. District Court with taking a high-powered Colt rifle from a patrol car that day in 2020 amid Seattle protests and riots. At the time, investigators alleged Little tried to sell the police firearm and that the gun was yet to be found. Little's federal trial date is set for November. He's also facing second-degree murder charges in connection with a shooting in Renton in August. I think that probably takes precedent over the theft of the firearm, unless the firearm was used in the murder, I guess.
All right.
Wow, okay. Yeah. And, uh-oh. My phone is beeping at me. What's happening, phone? I can't tell if that's good or bad. I guess I'll find out after the show. Okay, well, let's see. I'll do one more. Well, that's not a news story. Is that a news story or is that just a tweet? I guess it is a news story. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't tell for a second if that was just something being retweeted at me. This one comes from Silly Billy. And this sounds like something that was sort of a proverbial dodged a bullet. Let's find out. MIT grad found dead in possible ad in my face. MIT grad found dead in possible clandestine lab in Streeterville died from accidental overdose of anesthetic. Medical examiner's office says. Go away. Good God, these ads. A man whose body was found in his Streeterville apartment, which investigators said may have been used as a, shut up, clandestine lab used for producing illegal narcotics, died as the result of an accidental overdose of an anesthetic often used for surgeries and dental procedures, according to Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Theodore Hilk, 30, was found in his 7th floor apartment at 240 East Illinois Street. That's convenient. March 23rd, after relatives, unable to reach Hilk for more than a month, according to a police report, called police to request a well-being check. Wait, it took you a month to call for a well-being check? Did you care about this guy at all? Okay. Fire department personnel had to force their way into the one-bedroom apartment, and Hilk was found on the floor of the bedroom with his head under a desk. He had been dead a considerable amount of time. I'm guessing at least a month.
Yeesh.
A month? Really? I mean, I could see a week going by and you haven't heard from you, that kind of thing, but a month? Okay, all these animated ads are really bugging me. Hilk was found about 10 p.m. The shower in his apartment was running, and, quote, several pressure cookers, chemicals, lab equipment, metal drums, and multiple pills and pharmaceuticals were found in the unit, according to the police report. Well, all this lab stuff sitting around unattended to for over a month. It is amazing that there was not an explosion. Oh, wait, at the time, police said bomb-making materials and substances were located throughout the unit, but the police report did not support that, although it said hazardous and potentially explosive materials were found. Yeah, I can believe it. The guy has basically a meth lab going in his apartment. I mean, did he pay his rent on time? No one else had any notion. Okay, I just find that bizarre. A death investigation was launched to determine how the Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduate had died, but initial autopsy results were inconclusive. Yeah, probably because the body had been sitting there melting for a month. Hilk's death was determined to have been accidental and the result of lidocaine and... Satsu, look at this word.
Uh-huh.
Can you pronounce that one for me?
Monoethyl glycol glycosylide.
Monoethyl glycinexylidide.
Glycinexylidide?
Glycinexylidide? That sounds like a Superman villain.
Monoethyl glycinexylidide.
Okay, well, the monoglycyl exylidide is why he died.
Is why he died.
And there you are, everyone. That is the end-all, be-all. And, well, we have a spam-er in the chat, so thank you, Ebony Williams. Appreciate it. That is a rare event.
Yeah, we don't usually get spammers.
Yeah, we usually don't have any reason for the moderators to do anything here. Oh, and again, wow. That is amazing. Moderators, please, by all means, do what you got. Oh, man, and another one. Boy, we're just filled with them today.
Okay, at least can you guys share to us how YouTube's algorithm had you find us? Because
I've never felt so popular all of a sudden.
Because nobody who actually wants to see our shit finds us in the algorithm. So how the hell are you guys finding?
Yeah,
I'm sure it's the same dude or whatever.
Oh no, I mean either the same person launched them all or so on. But wow, golly gee whiz!
I didn't piss off anybody. I don't think.
Let's see. I'm trying to see, like, okay, so there must be some number of viewers who are all spam bots or something. And I mean, the viewer number right now isn't any higher than usual. Thankfully, I'm not going to display any of these comments or recite them. But, okay, well, hey, moderators, you've got your work cut out for you right now. Appreciate all your help.
Yeah, have fun with that.
In fact, just because of the special occasion that we're experiencing here, I am going to bestow powers on a couple of familiar faces just for the heck of it. And just as a note, if I don't give you a wrench, it's not because I don't like you or something. It's just I don't hand these out as status things. They're completely for utilitarian purposes. But if it's somebody that I know has been a viewer or a member of the audience for a long time, that's the only reason. And so if you don't get one, don't fret. Anyway,
apparently they're claiming that this is some sort of raid.
Okay. I mean, whatever. Anyway, we're going to move on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. I got plenty to talk about. So Satsu, what have you been up to?
Same old shit. Nothing really. Getting ready for my new assignment this week. They got us doing like these narratives now where we have to like watch a video and then describe either what's happening or what the person is doing wrong, which is going to be interesting because not only are the professors and shit going to be commenting on it, but they want us to commentate on each other's responses, which will be interesting. Hassan Piker.
This is Monkey's fault.
Ah,
these guys were all on Monkey's channel last night. He says, "Oh, it's not Monkey's fault, but okay." But we're not special. That was the thing I was kind of curious about. I was like, are we suddenly like special for some reason? Okay, no, it's just okay. So anyway,
well, there you go. Welcome to the stream, I guess.
Sure. I mean, any press is good press, even if it's bad press, right?
I mean, it's just now I know on Twitch this can get your channel like completely banned, but I don't know how YouTube really acts on that stuff.
Well, I don't know what to say other than I have moderators keeping an eye on things, and we're being spammed by outsiders who have never shown up on this channel before. So what are you going to do? Thank you, Atheist Icon, for the dancing. How's it going, Dogcat Fox? Thank you, Atheist Icon. Appreciate it. Sorry I interrupted you, Satsu.
Oh, no. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of interesting stuff going on with me for YouTube stuff. I do, like I said, I got some videos coming up for the cooking stuff that I've done so far, but otherwise, I mean, Lords of the Night, man, that's kind of the only thing I'm consistently doing at the moment. because like I told you, remember I future dated like fucking 16 weeks worth of shit. So yeah.
Let's see. As for myself, today I did a TED Excellence in which the speaker was talking to us about accessing identity. And if you can believe it, nothing in the entire talk had anything to do with identity. It had to do with specific life experiences or factors of biology or blah, 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 but none of them had anything to do with actual identity. And that was kind of the theme for the entire deal. I won't give everything away because it was entertaining to a certain degree, but at the very end, he actually came to a point, a kind of a point.
I was supposed to say an actual point, or
yeah, and but he lost the plot completely within about 5 minutes after that. So let's see. I don't know. I don't want to punish everybody else, but I'm half inclined to see if I can turn off chat for this broadcast, just because this isn't going anywhere apparently.
Well, I think there's like is there like sub only mode or whatever? Or I think you have to turn that on beforehand.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. Thank you, Ebony Williams. To commemorate the spamming, you must be doing something right. I don't know. This has never happened before, or at least if it has, it's been so long ago I cannot remember it having happened.
Is this a Christian channel?
What was it? Was it the thumbnail? Did the thumbnail do this? Is this what happened?
I'm not sure.
It was so sacrilegious, it just drew in a bunch of dummies. Okay. Otherwise, yes, I did the TED Excellence. Sunday, I'll be doing part 3 of the panel discussion from 2010 at Oregon State University regarding critical race theory, and to see what happens with what they had to say 11 years ago versus now. And so far, it's been very, very familiar stuff. And I am told that the question time that eventually occurs is much worth the wait. So there you go. I don't know if I can turn off the chat.
I would at this point, like, just ignore them, honestly.
Well, I know, but I'm just like I say, I'm wondering.
If you can, then by all means. But
well, not only that, but also wondering. I mean, just for the sake of I don't want everybody who's just watching having to deal with this garbage the whole time. But anyway,
well, they'll get bored as long as we pay attention to them. They'll stick around.
That's true. Okay. Moving on to internet secretary. Satsu, do you have much?
Nah, I ain't really get into much today. There was your standard level of stupidity going on. So.
Okay. Well, that was quick. Let me get this before it disappears. Thank you, Shoehorn Aplenty. Slow mode chat. How do I do that? See, I don't. Can I do it live? I don't know if I can do that.
You should be able to.
Do I do that in like the YouTube control panel thing or something?
Yeah, like under.
Hold on. I've never had to do this before, or even contemplate doing it before.
Well, if you're on your if you're on the actual front page or whatever, you should be able to, like, if you're looking at the chat on the bottom, there should be like the little dots or whatever where you can do the settings. You should.
Yeah.
Turn on slow mo.
Toggle timestamps, manage moderators, participants, send feedback. I can't. Nothing there. Hold on. Maybe there's something. Edit video? No, I can't. Doesn't give me an option to do anything as far as that's concerned. At least I don't see it. Let's see. I mean, I don't know anything about it. Is it really Hassan Piker doing this?
I have no idea. I doubt it, but
yeah. Yeah, if there's an option here somewhere, it's buried where I'm not seeing it, so I'm just going to ignore it. Anyway, moving on. So for fucketry for myself, let's see here. Yeah, so this quote from AOC today. Quote, if we want to reduce the number of people in our jails, the answer is to stop building more of them.
Yeah? Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, if you stop building jails, people won't do bad things anymore because they know they won't have a place to live.
Well, I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, if you stop building jails, then the number of people in jail will just flat out. Yeah, so it's a great plan. Thanks, AOC.
Oh, well, I guess that was fucketry that came up earlier. Did you see that she was blaming Trump for her grandmother? Apparently,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and everybody's like, you have a $70,000 Tesla. You make X amount of money, and you haven't sent your grandmother anything. It's Trump's fault. Really?
Yeah. You make what they make like 100. Was it like 170 something $1,000 a year?
Yeah,
as a rep. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. There was a headline from CBS DFW, which I'm assuming is Dallas Fort Worth. It says, quote, the driver who led Garland police on a chase to McKinney was tackled to the ground by a Texas DPS trooper. And I said, and afterwards, the tank trooper provided cover while the heel trooper kept everyone topped off. Because I'm just funny like that.
Fucking nerd.
Yes, I am. Then some brilliant person said in response to, so there was there's an organization apparently called Color Us United. And someone who was a member of this organization said, I am proud to announce the formation of Color Us United, the antidote to Black Lives Matter's nihilistic racial messaging. Color Us United advocates for a race-blind America. We will fight all laws that discriminate, follow, and share. And someone responded, you just can't be colorblind. Sorry. And I just asked, why not? And if you looked at the other responses that this person gave, they went the whole literal colorblind route.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Of course.
Let's see. I put a link to, during the course of the TEDx today, I brought up a book that I brought up many times in the past, a book from the 90s that I read where I was first introduced to the idea of racial identitarianism. It's a book about the militia movement back in the 90s and its ties to the white identity movement. And I keep referencing that book because racial identity, doesn't matter what the race is a bad idea. There's no upside to promoting the idea or the concept of racial identity. And I forget who it was. I think it might have been Lexi Mad. She was like, where can I get that book? And I've got my copy, again, from the 90s on a bookshelf in my living room. But I hadn't looked up the book, and I think it's effectively out of print. You can find a copy of the paperback, the one that I have, for like $130 or something. It's just a paperback, and like the hardcover you can still get for like $40 or whatever. So let's see. And then thank you, Point Curation. Hope everyone is having a nice night. Well, my night's fine. You know, it's definitely a unique evening compared to others of the show, but
yeah, it's gotten a little interesting.
Yeah. I see. I had to be very careful there because if I clicked wrong, something completely different would have come up on the screen.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. Any other fucketry? Someone, I don't know who it is, Sammy Sue said, men will never understand the joy of ripping off a bra at the end of a long day. And I said, you must be joking. I've ripped bras off several girlfriends at the end of a long day.
Yeah, I was going to comment. Does it count if it's not your own?
That was the thing. And then someone who just really, really wants Ibram X. Kendi to retweet their tweet, which he did. Dr. Destiny Knock. That's the name on Twitter. I do not know if that's their real name, but Dr. Destiny Knock said, quote, the opposite of racist isn't not racist. It's anti-racist. One either believes problems are rooted in groups of people as a racist or locates the roots of problems in power and policies as an anti-racist. Dr. Ibram's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, is my group's summer read. And I said, racism is the universal constant. You are either in denial of it or acknowledging its presence within you and others. The only right action is confession. Because that's...
What would you have done if he retweeted that one?
Oh, I would have been over the moon. I would have screenshotted that. I'd frame it. I mean, I'm happy. I still have the screenshot of Chris Saliza retweeting me.
Mm-hmm.
If Ibram Kendi ever retweeted anything I had to say, I would frame that in a hot second. That'd be great. I'd put that on my little trophy wall. There are a few events in the course of my online life that I would count as monumental, but that would be one of them. Let's see, anything else? No, we talked about that. We talked about that. I guess we talked about everything. Oh, not that this is big news or anything, but Jupiter's Legacy, the show on Netflix that the season just premiered about a month or so ago, was not picked up for a second season, which honestly surprises me because, as I said on my tweet, kind of surprising given some of the garbage series Netflix has made and renewed in the past. I said, though, I'm sure the price tag has something to do with it. Because I don't know if it's an accurate count, but the rumor is that season of that show cost $200 million.
Oof.
Which, I mean, I guess I could see that given some of the things that they did, but at the same time, it doesn't look like it cost $200 million, if that makes any sense. But then I don't know. I don't know how given all the actors and all the effects and everything, maybe it did. I said season 1 should have been just the origin story, which was far more interesting than the modern day material, because part of the show's conceit is that it flashes backwards and forwards between how the characters got to where they are and the results of what they've done in the past leading into the future. But you find it out in bits and pieces. And if you took nothing but the origin story segments and linked them together into one continuous narrative, that would have been a great show all by itself, because origin stories are way more interesting, right, than sometimes than the actual continuation of the characters.
Right.
And I would have loved to see just a season of that and them actually just going chronologically. But anyway, yeah, so kind of very surprising. I would have thought they would have renewed. That seemed like one of those things they'd renew just reflexively, because it's their own superhero franchise. They don't have to worry about dealing with Marvel or anybody else. But they gave up on it, which is kind of odd. Thank you, Point Curation. The bots will never take me alive. I hope not. I, for one, do not care for our robot overlords or whatever. And beyond that, I think... Oh, there was this. I didn't get to talk about this yesterday because I wasn't here. But there was an interview between Nicole Wallace and Dr. Fauci. Right? She was the first one to get a she snagged an interview with Dr. Fauci, because interviewing Dr. Fauci is just such a rarity over the last year.
Is this about his emails?
Yeah, and this is what Nicole Wallace said to Dr. Fauci regarding his emails. Quote, "The true mark of someone is if they look good even when their personal emails come out. So you passed the test very few of us would pass," unquote. And I said, yes, keep polishing Fauci's halo. St. Fauci can do no wrong, even when his emails come out showing that he had absolutely no idea what he was doing moment by moment over the course of the last year. Also, did you know that he wrote a book?
No.
Yeah, he wrote a book. It's called Expect the Unexpected. And it was delisted from pre-order the other day after the emails came out, if you can believe it. And my question at that time was, I said, Chapter 1, How I Found the Time to Write a Book During a Pandemic. Which is really a curiosity of mine. Anyway, that is the end of my fucketry, such as it is. I don't really have much else. What's this? Oh, yeah. I've been getting a lot of... I guess this isn't fucketry so much, but I actually got into an exchange with theonering.net. Did you see the whole hubbub over this?
No.
Okay, so the OneRing.net has been for many, many years sort of like the go-to site and source for Lord of the Rings / Tolkien stuff online. The OneRing.net was a big website back in the early 2000s because it was like Yeah, it was like the place you went for fans of Tolkien and everything. Right. Now, I'm admittedly, as I say in my tweet, I'm not a huge Tolkien fan. There are plenty of people around me who are far more. But they put this tweet out yesterday or the day before. Yesterday. Listen, we've been dealing with homophobic comments for decades, and it's still wrong. Whatever toxic arguments are being said now about Lords of the Ring fandom and adaptations is the same trash that said Ian McKellen was the worst affront to Tolkien's legacy ever. #pride. And I was like, this is my response. I said, while I am not a hardcore Tolkien disciple, I have had a multitude of friends in my life who are rabid in their love for his books and mythology. And never once did I hear anything but praise and reverence for McKellen's portrayal. So just who are you talking about here? And it turns out whoever runs this was talking about some forum posts from 2000 before the movie even came out. Now, I did not know this. I was completely at a loss, right? So I got an exchange. Surprisingly enough, they responded to me and they said, before there was social media, the chat rooms and message boards were ablaze with debate, so much that Ian McKellen responded. And I guess he made a statement back in 2001 or something about this. And then they go on to say a lot of the hateful discourse around the Amazon show aligns with the obviously stupid negative of that earlier time. Now, this is me not knowing what the hell's going on. I said, so just so I'm clear, because I'm trying to decipher his first post, and I wasn't trying to be facetious or anything. I said, just so I'm clear, anyone who either is skeptical of or criticizes anything about the Amazon series upcoming is on equitable footing as homophobes, in your opinion? Because I didn't understand what was going on. And he said, to be clear, debate is welcome on the merits of narrative adaptation. Some, not all, comments on the casting of Amazon so far have been extremely racist. The point being that such comments are now as stupid as the homophobic ones Ian received back then. Now, I don't know what he's referring to. I don't know what comments. I know nothing about the casting of the Amazon show. Most of what I know about the Amazon show comes in bits and pieces from things that are retweeted by other people, right? But here's what they apparently said later on. Let me find it here just so I can quote it directly, because somebody retweeted or tagged me in it. Let's see, let me find it here. Got to go down a bit to where it went. Sorry, guys, didn't mean to delay everything, but where did it go? I'm having to search through my Twitter feed. I love that, don't you? When you got to find something. Where did it go? There's a lot of activity on my Twitter feed. I'm a very popular guy, Satsu.
Apparently.
Or I just end up being tagged and retweeted and a whole bunch of different things. So, okay. Come on. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Okay, well, I got to hold on a second. I do have to read this because it is amazing.
Okay.
What happened afterwards. It's not something I want to pass up on. Okay, where did it go? I just said wow to the thing once I read it. And
you can't find it.
This cannot be like this. Seriously? This is ridiculous. This was there all day, and now I cannot find it to save my life.
What are you looking for again?
Okay, well, so I can't quote it without having it in front of me. I will not do it justice. Oh, for God's sakes. Well, thank you, Frosted Glass. Hey, chat, if you're sad about your small penis, post repetitive messages. Oh, there you go. There it is. Okay, there it is. Okay. I found it. Okay. Christ. Well, I didn't mean to. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, they deleted it.
That's what I figured might have been the case, because I'm
okay. So here's what happened. And I can only do this in reference now. someone responded to their complaint about what they were talking about regarding the casting, saying that what they care about as fans of the Tolkien universe is that the show respect the lore, in as much as if a character and or a race of creatures in the lore is X, that be reflected correctly in a show about it, right? And the OneRing.net, they've now deleted this post, but I will read it. Quote, respect the lore is becoming coded language for racist perspectives on a text that never describes color. Now, if it matters, the person who said that they just care that they respect the lore is black. So the OneRing.net said that by using the phrase respect the lore, that guy was actually being a racist.
Well, they said on a series that never explained or, talked about color, then how are you making changes based on that?
There's that too. Yeah. the argument goes the opposite direction as well.
Yeah, we're making conscious changes based on color in a series that never talked about it. Really? Then why would it matter then?
Now, I don't even know if that's an accurate description of the text. I truth be told, I have never read a lick of Tolkien. I know, it's terrible. Never read a book. I've seen the movies, seen the cartoon movies. Yeah, so I don't know if that's true at all. But either way, doesn't really matter. Because now we're at the bottom of the hour, and thus, it's question time. So everyone, if you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, conspiracy theories, if you would like to declare yourself not a bot, which is pretty obvious and pretty easy these days, by all means, put in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those.
Anybody notice that the spamming stopped after that super chat?
Yeah, I mean, hey, wait. Okay, so either frosted glass is kryptonite, or all of that was frosted glass.
Dude, the spamming stopped as soon as Frosted said that.
Let's see. So, hold on.
Oh, Frosted. Sometimes you can be useful. Night, baby.
Hi, Squishy. Let's see. Sorry, I got some DMs I got to look at
says
here.
Night Squish.
Night Squishy. All right, going to the chat. Let's see if I can get some of these in here. Okay, Ebony Williams, thoughts on sparkling water. It is unnatural and against God's plan. No, I don't know. I don't go out of my way to drink it. So, Satsu.
Sparkling water?
Yeah. Do you have a thought on sparkling water?
Not really. It exists.
I mean, I've had like flavored carbonated water before, but like, what's the name of that sparkling water that you see everywhere? That's got like the green label on it. What's that called?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, anyway, I've had it once or twice in my life, and I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me. So. Dr. Keeve, Scribe Light, this was happening on Minions chat last night too. Boy, oh boy, our whole little family of channels and shows is just getting popular, I guess. Huh. I wonder if there's a connection. Well. Thank you, Frosty. Frosty Glass, do you think Mike and Rich Evans were really in Never Been Kissed? I had not heard that rumor before, so I don't know. I know that Rich Evans recently appeared in, at least as a voice, in a movie where he was like a monster robot or something. But other than that, I couldn't say. The only sort of like larger world appearances I am aware of regarding Rich Evans is his voice in that little Canadian monster movie or whatever, and that he was in that photograph that Ellen DeGeneres used to highlight the Showtime Pizza Bear, which her guest apparently at one point had worked at Showtime Pizza, but just happened to be that picture of Rich Evans when he was like 6 or something. So that's the most that I know. But if they were in a movie somehow or in the background, I don't know. Let's see. Check your logic. Do the spam bots count as fuckatry? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of live fuckatry. Sure.
That's the fuckatry you can tell your friends and family about later.
Assassin Gray, Scarlett, did you know you can ban people from the channel? I guess I could have. I should have. I guess I still can, but I mean, I didn't know that they weren't just all bots to begin with, so it's, just make more.
It's a little difficult to do on the fly when you're trying to run a stream.
Yeah, trying to run a stream and when everything's going by at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So, I mean, I will make the attempt in the aftermath here to. Apparently I can only remove someone a couple of times before they disallow me from doing it again. That's interesting. Huh. Is that really how that works? Apparently there's a limited number of account bans I can do at any one time. So there you go. And then chat jumped. Mystery Scribe, why would Hassan Parker send people to raid and troll live stream chats on YouTube? I don't believe that he did.
Yeah. That's why when they said, is it real? I doubt it.
I'll press X to doubt. I would be surprised if he actually, A, that he actually did, and B, that we would be anywhere on his radar.
Right.
That would be the other thing, too. It's like, I don't think so. Wikipedia snippet. Have you read Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut? I have not. That was an option for a book to read in a sci-fi literature class I took in high school, but I opted to read the book We by Yevgeny Zamyatin, which is kind of like the Russian version of 1984. But it was on a list of books that I could have read, but I didn't. So yeah, I decided to go for something that was even more obscure in my mind than Slaughterhouse-Five, which isn't very obscure. But yeah, so We, and I can still say his name, Yevgeny Zamyatin. I always thought that was a cool name. Harvos Marvos, who is your favorite action and or comedian actor? And to add in for Satsu, favorite anime/manga artist. Are you saying that Satsu couldn't have an action or comedic actor favorite?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I see. Favorite action and or comedian. Action. I mean, in recent years, up until the singular movies, I think of like Taken and the first John Wick movie. It's like I wouldn't really imagine Keanu Reeves as an action guy, even though he's done action movies in the past. But it's really about the choreography. Yeah, I guess I don't really. I mean, in the olden days, I would have said Steven Seagal. Even though he's a complete fat bloated weirdo now. When I was a kid growing up, like Steven Seagal movies were like, yeah, that was the action movie you wanted to see, or maybe Van Damme. Hard Target. But yeah, that's what comes to mind. Satsu, you have a favorite anime or manga artist?
Yes, but I probably couldn't tell you their name. Like, there's a certain style that I like, or when I see it, I'm attracted to. I just couldn't tell you the name of the style, and I couldn't tell you the name of the artist that, kind of, because I'm one of those people that'll listen to a song and know every word to the song and listen to it for like 6 years, and people are like, who sings it? And I'm like, I don't know. So I should probably, like I said before, I should probably look more into that stuff, but I usually don't.
Frosted Glass, you didn't watch the latest Best of the Worst, Scribe? Nope, I haven't yet. I didn't have a chance to yesterday. Don't ruin it for me, and you already kind of did. So thanks a lot, Frosted Glass. Because if I had, I would have known what you're talking about. The fact that I didn't kind of answers that question. I might watch it tonight. Depends. The problem was last night I was having such a hard time getting to sleep, looking at an hour and a half long YouTube thing when I finally realized that, because I didn't know it was there until I got home after, or I decided to, it didn't pop up into my radar, let's say, until it was already late at night last night, and it was an hour and a half long or whatever. I'm just like, I can't watch that and expect to get a good night's sleep. So, especially with the heat. So that was kind of the problem. Let's see. Candlestick Wizard, the thin sliced pork smoked with a drizzle of honey and ginger, served on wonton wrappers, fried and dusted with cinnamon and paper thin apple slices, and a tall glass of vodka lemonade. That is complicated. Complicated.
Complicated.
Yeah, I want to pronounce it that way. Complicated. I'm not sure about this. I mean, dusted with cinnamon. I don't.
Maybe lightly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the smoked pork dusted with cinnamon.
Well, pork is often paired with apples.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
because you put an apple in the pig's mouth.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? I have been unfortunate enough to never experience the whole entire pig roast thing.
Really?
It's something I would like to experience before I die, because that.
Oh, I at least twice now, and the first time I was there for the whole process where they like bury it and everything and smoke it and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The second time it had already been prepared, so I didn't see the whole process. But yeah, the first time I saw it was I was like, what was I, like 11 or 12 or something, and I was at some kind of like barbecue at some guy's house that my dad worked with, and yeah, it was amazing to me. They like had this huge. I mean, in my memory, the size of the barbecue grill they had looked like the size of like a camper van.
Mm-hmm.
It probably wasn't that big, obviously, but it was really big. And yeah, they had the pig and they buried it and smoked it. And there was an apple in his mouth, the whole 9 yards. That was something else. It tasted really good too.
Yeah, that's something it's on my bucket list.
Let's see. Frosted Glass. For the record, you have my permission to use my anti-chat spamming method in the future. which is a super chat? Okay. Thank you, Frosted. Let's see. Data Wasteland, Scribe, did you know Soylent Green is people? People! Yeah. You know, the only thing that stops me from rewatching that movie, because I've only ever seen it all the way through once, is the fashion. The clothes that those guys wear in that movie projected the future is so... I mean, it makes my eyes melt. It's so bad what they decided that the future of fashion looked like in that movie. Because to see Charlton Heston wear like a pink little tiny scarf around his neck, like a grandpa hat or whatever, it was just, and those shirts, the paisley, God. I mean, and it's not done for comedic effect, unlike, say, something like Ice Pirates, which has the most ridiculous dime store space sci-fi costumes, but of course the whole movie is not meant to be taken seriously, so it kind of adds to its charm. Whereas Soylent Green, it's meant to sort of be a serious sci-fi movie, and it just it's terrible. Like I have to squint just to make sure I don't lose my vision. Let's see. Sean Uli, they make a newfangled cheap appliance these days, Scribe. They call them air conditioners. Yes, thank you, Sean. I've never heard of such things before, and I have one, but my apartment radiates heat. It absorbs the heat and radiates it back in. It does not, whatever goes for insulation in this place does nothing. And the windows, they keep the heat in. Fans, water-fed air conditioner thing I've got, it only partially, depending on the heat of the day, only partially changes the situation. Otherwise, it's terrible. And I'm already not a fan of heat to begin with, so it doesn't have to go up much to make me uncomfortable. Monkey would love it, because Monkey is just a lizard. You know, give him a heat lamp and a hot rock, and he'd be fine.
Monkey's a bearded dragon.
Yeah, I'm just not built for it. Mystery of Scribe, have you ever shopped at Ralph Lauren or Tommy Hilfiger? No. Never have. I may have walked into a store when I'm shopping with somebody else before, but I've never purchased anything from either of them. Definitely not ever gone there. I am not that fancy. Angela Arriaga says, hey now, I like Paisley. Well, Paisley can work, but just not on Charlton Heston in a sci-fi movie. Just doesn't. Sorry. Let's see. Wikipedia snippet. Remember, Tuesday is Soylent Green Day, a parody of Wednesday being Prince Spaghetti Day. Who's Prince Spaghetti? I'm going to get... Somebody's going to, like, rake me over the coals for asking that question, I'm sure.
I have no idea, so don't ask me.
Okay. I've never heard of Prince Spaghetti. Is that a movie? Is that a character? I don't know. Soylent Green Day. Ha 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 ha.
Ebony's asking if she should just get Twitter already. I mean, not Twitter, Crunchyroll already. I mean, is there any particular reason you haven't? Like, I think you may have explained why. I just don't recall what that reason is. I mean, if you want to watch the anime that's on Crunchyroll, then yeah, I would go ahead and do that.
Pirates Creed, did you see the takedown of TYT by a member of Pink Floyd? I saw a tweet referencing something to that effect, but I didn't actually see the video. Because I think I saw it while it was working, so I didn't get a chance to click on it. Data Wasteland, Scribe, like, why can't you move? I'm moving right now. Here, I'm moving my arms. Woo! We were talking about like moving place of residence. Well, I guess I could, except there's absolutely no advantage to it. Where my place is located is about, I mean, so like you guys know, I don't drive, right? I am a half a block from my dentist. Like I just have to basically jump out my front door and I'm at my dentist's office. I am 3 blocks away from the grocery store, from the pharmacy, I mean, all the necessary things just to sort of live. I don't have to go a long distance to get to, especially since I walk. And even then, the things that are a bit more of a distance are a reasonable walk away. Like if I have to get a haircut now, because all the haircut places closed because of the pandemic, the nearest one is about 2 miles down the hill, which, you know, it's a bit of a hike, but it doesn't take forever. So there's no advantage for me to moving. My rent is not terrible given the territory, and considering the amount of space that I have. So yeah, there's no advantage in my mind to it. The insulation problem, the heat in the summer and the cold in the winter, I'm used to it by now. I'm going to complain about it, no doubt. You're going to hear me bitching about it. That's just the way it is. That's just life. But it is not as much of a deterrent for me to move everything. I've been here so long now. Let's see. Chat jumped again. Mr. Yes, Satsu, how is Squeetus, and did she do anything new today?
She's fine, and she ate spaghetti today. Which I guess I don't think I've ever given her spaghetti before. So, otherwise, I mean, you know, learning new words and just kind of generally being a weirdo. She called Squishy Mama unprompted today, and she almost melted.
Oh,
because she was watching Bubble Guppies, and they were doing the roll call, and when Squishy came down the stairs, she turned around and was like, "Mama," and Squishy was like, "Oh my god." I'm like, yeah, well, there you go. She don't say Dada no more.
Ebony Williams, I thought about getting Hulu so I have more shows to watch, but I don't know if the anime I want to watch would be available. I think you can look up what's on Hulu even without an account. You just go to the Hulu thing and just look up a name. You can't watch it without an account, but you can see.
Hulu is fairly limited when it comes to
anime.
Anime, yeah. There is anime on there, but
yeah.
It's
not the focus.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So if you want to get a streaming service that will give you a good bulk amount of anime to watch, then it should be an anime streaming service. I wouldn't recommend something that's not.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of stuff on Netflix, but again, it's not a anime centric
Right. Yeah. There's some things on there, but most things aren't. So
yeah. Let's see. Sean Uli, Scribe, you have a swamp cooler, not an AC. Yeah. You know why? ACs are expensive. I was lucky to find this one thing that's a bit better than a floor fan on sale at the time that I got it. But an actual like AC unit, one of those things you hang out your window kind of deal. First off, I don't know that I have a window I could hang it out of safely, or that I'd be able to. And secondly, yeah, those things are not cheap. So I deal with as I deal, and part of dealing is bitching about it. So there you go. Let's see. Yes, Satsu.
I just recently bought some tower fans that are pretty nice. They're real nice. Come with little remotes and stuff. And I don't even turn on my AC because they are sufficient. So,
Jim Healy, Scribe, the California Assembly and Senate unveiled a joint spending plan that proposes a program in which the state would pay for and own up to 45% of a home. Is this their attempt at creating more affordable housing to try to quote unquote solve the homeless problem?
Speaking of which, there's an app that I'm sure has been around for a while, but it's just started coming up for me. Like I've been seeing it recently. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
That doesn't help anything.
Yeah, I know. But basically the premise is if you want to buy a house and you don't have really good credit, they'll buy the house for you and get you on some type of approval system. And then over a 3-year period, they whatever money you pay them, they take a portion of it and put it towards the savings to get you saved up for the whatever. And I'm just like, this shit sounds fishy as fuck.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those too good to be true kind of thing. That sounds like one of those payday loan deals.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like something that probably works for financially responsible people who just happen to have a bad credit history. But it sounds like a trap for people who like, oh, I can do this, and then they get into it and realize they can't, and they're like, thanks for the money, chump. Like that's what it seems like. When it works out, it's like, okay, fine, we help somebody. But when it doesn't, they're like, this is where we make all of our money, from stupid, irresponsible people.
Advocaz Diabli says, is it called House Buddy?
Not House Buddy. It's fucking House Buddy.
Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy. Wherever I go, you go.
It's just one word. I can't, man. I just saw a commercial for it earlier because I keep seeing them.
Oh, I know what it's called. Scam.
Scam.
Red Dirt Runner Satsu, have you tried VRV? They are crunchy plus Hidive anime and a bunch more. I'm probably mispronouncing all that.
Oh, did they add High Dive to Verve? I didn't know they added. High Dive has been they've been doing their own thing for a minute. High Dive is actually pretty good because a lot of their dubs and subs are really good. It's openly available and they have uncensored shit, which you usually can't find on other apps or whatever. So actually, Ebony, if you're looking for a pretty good one, I actually really like High Dive. Verve is good too if you want to kind of a bundle deal, like you want to get a bundle of different stuff under one umbrella, you can do Verve, but High Dive's pretty good. So,
all right. Pirates Creed obligatory. Satsu, have you watched The Dragon Prince?
Obligatory, no.
I finished Castlevania season 3 the day before yesterday.
Season 4.
Was it season 4? Sorry, season 4.
Now, I made a prediction. Was I correct?
Yeah, it was absolute and total bullshit.
I knew it. I was
the whole thing. I was like, and I won't give anything away, but I'll give you this. I didn't see that coming.
I did,
because there was absolutely nothing, as far as I could tell, and of course I didn't watch every episode down to the wire. There was nothing presaged that said that was going to be the big surprise or something.
Oh, it was. It was.
Really? Because you're gonna have to tell me off the air what the clues were, because I didn't see. Like I said, unless they were seeded in there so subtly that I obviously didn't see them. But anyway, the big reveal was kind of like, that's what this has all been building up. What? And then just the decisions made by. Like, Okay, I have to talk to you about this off the air.
Yeah, we can. You want to do a stream for it one day?
Yeah, I don't know about. Well, I'll think about it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. Since I'm not much of an anime fan, maybe I'd be in the complete.
We're just talking about what you saw.
Okay, we'll see. Let's see. If we do end up doing that, then I'm not going to talk to you about it after the show because that'd be just wasting it. This is Kyle. Have either of you played Assassin's Creed, and did you know that I'm streaming it after Lords of the Night? I did play the first one for about an hour, and then I got bored of it.
I played the first one a little bit, and I was like, this game sucks. I don't get why people like it. Yeah. And then I played 2 and was like, oh, this game is actually pretty good. Now I get why people like it. And then I played 3 and I was like, nope, never mind. It sucks. And then I played Black Flag and I'm like, oh, shit, no, actually, this game is one of the best games ever.
Yeah, first off, I don't play much console games ever, really. And it was mainly on console, and I never bought it on PC or anything. So I never got into it. And all I remember about playing it the first time was just the difficulty I had in controlling the climbing and everything else. And maybe with more practice, I would have been better at it, but I just couldn't get into it. I just, I think in the time since I was a console gamer back in the 90s, I've just been weaned off of console games for the most part. I've got a small stack of games for the 360. Most of them are Marvel based. Like I got the Captain America game, and I got Ultimate Alliance 2, and a couple other things in there. Did I have Force Unleashed? Something. Oh, yeah, the Wolverine game. Anyway, yeah, just Marvel games. That's the only ones I cared about. But I didn't even play those that much. So,
damn, Jim, that's fucked up. I'm reading the chat.
What did Jim say?
He's talking about his house.
Oh, I can't see it. Let's see. Cougar Knife. Scribe Light, you will rue this day for ignoring my questions. You will know my wrath. I'll start with your precious Dogcat Fox. Well, now, see, if you just put some question marks at the end of whatever you were having to say, I would have clicked on it just then. But instead, you waste your chat message on just spiting me. So, yeah. Mr. Yes, Lords of the Night, have you guys done anything exciting for Father's Day? Exciting? No. I mean, the gift that my sister has imagined and brought to fruition for my father this year is amazing. And we'll be giving it to him in person in a week or two when we go up to visit our folks. So I guess that'll be exciting in and of itself. So I guess that upcoming event is going to be exciting. Other than that, I can't think of a time prior where anything quote unquote exciting happened with Father's Day. Satsu?
Well, 2 things. One, Cougar's question was, I'll try this one last time. Scribe, I read Punisher 45, and it was great. Do you have another comic recommendation?
Who said that?
That was Cougar.
Oh, Cougar.
And there was a bunch of chat marks behind it.
Okay, well, I'm sorry I missed it, Cougar. I wouldn't intentionally dodge that one. Punisher 45. Best, I mean, maybe it's not the best, I don't know, but in my mind, it is the most quintessential Punisher story. It has all the elements of what makes the Punisher an awesome character and an awesome little pocket universe to keep tabs on. Great. As far as other comic book recommendations, oh my gosh, like individual issues. Boy, oh boy. If you can find, I mean, you should probably be able to find it. There's a one-off lengthy little graphic novel story of Doctor Strange just called The Oath. And it, sort of like Punisher 45, that story kind of encapsulates everything cool you can do with Doctor Strange and has an excellent little story to it. Won't give anything away, but these are sort of like the quintessential things where they, like someone who really knows and cares about the character puts them in their absolute perfect environment and just does a closed off, one-off, beginning to end story, a little chapter, a little episode that just, uses everything that's great about the character and puts it to its best use. And Punisher 45 and The Oath for Doctor Strange. So that'd be my next recommendation off the top of my head.
And the second part is, because that was a two-parter, is Squishy bought me a tablet for Father's Day.
So. Oh, okay. What drug was it?
Shut up, Scribbles.
Okay. Well, with that, guys, we're at the top of the hour, and thus the end of the show. So, boy, this has been quite the roller coaster ride this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Between not only the content and wonderful conversation, but also our surprise visitors, who I hope never show up again, but who knows. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it, as always. Moderators, you guys are the heroes of the day. As you all know, I almost always close out this show by saying, moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Well, today was not that day.
Oh, yeah. They were making up for all the years you guys haven't had to really do anything.
Yeah, and I really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for keeping an eye on that stuff and dealing with it as you did. I cannot thank you. Thank you so much. And everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. As far as upcoming stuff, just another plug for Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll be doing part 3 of my look at the panel discussion from 2010 of the Oregon State University, telling us all about critical race theory, on the hopes that the question time aspect that we get to eventually will really pay off, as compared to Santa Claus telling us that can you see the color of my hat? Well, then you're not colorblind, are you? I love that argument. Satsu, anything you up to after this?
Chilling like a villain. I'm taking a break because I'm gonna get to work tomorrow on week 3 stuff. So,
alrighty. Well, everyone, you can find us tomorrow, Friday, on Satsu's channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the next episode of the Lords of the Night, where we'll again look at the news and what you have to say and what we have to say, and hopefully no more stranger danger. But who knows? We'll find out. Either way, everyone, thank you again for joining us. Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
No problem.
Everyone, thank you so much for being so vigilant, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
And taking out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
And today's secret word is teacher.
Oh.
Teacher.
Naughty teacher.
Wait, are you British?
I could be.
How could you be British?
It's possible, is all I'm saying.
So you're a spy.